Mahmoud bhai, let's add Iran to the equation. How is it looking? Iran, eh, we here think that it's been like a little cooled down, but I saw your video about B 2 bombers being lined up. Give us more.
Ordered. Trump ordered 24 more B-2 bombers. The United States has enough B-2 and B-52 bombers to cause a lot of damage in Iran, and they have F-15s and 16s and F-22 Raptors that they've been deploying for some time now and reshuffling in the Middle East and moving from Europe and from America to the region. And the supercarrier striker group, USS Abraham Lincoln, coming from the South China Sea, going in stealth mode now to reach the West Asian region. All of that, all of that shows you that there are moves on the ground, actual moves, to prepare for an attack against Iran. Is it something to do with muscle flexing? Is it a show of power to try and intimidate Iran to extract political concessions or any financial concessions? Or to show them that, look, we're actually not interested in war, but we're interested in peace. So let's talk, but you need to ditch the nuclear program, get rid of the enriched uranium, and stop your missile development and all of that. Is it that? Well, really and truly, they know very well that Iran isn't intimidated by them. They've been flexing for very long, threatening and actually striking Iran, taking action against it. And Iran isn't backing down because Iran is strong. Iran has a strong leadership. It has strong establishment. It has strong ties and is very, very powerful. That deters them. And if Iran had a nuclear weapon, that would have been even better for the safety and prosperity of the region, by the way, because that would even deter more threats. If Iran was a nuclear power, the Middle East would be safer. Take that from me. You can use it as a title too. Had Iran had a nuclear bomb,
Hmm.
or maybe 100 nuclear bombs, maybe things would be safer. Because they can start deterring these psychopaths ruling the world who obtain thousands of nuclear bombs from constantly being hostile against them and committing these acts of terror and aggression against them. Truth of the matter is, there is a very high likelihood of them attacking Iran. And that might just lead to the final destruction of the state of Israel. Because Israel now is in a weak position. And should the United States decide to carry out a strike against Iran, regardless of Netanyahu's demand or request from Trump to not do it now, by the way, that's going to be very costly for Israel, and Iran would be attacking Israel, not just American bases in the region. So the tensions are still there. The American administration is a Zionist administration that is never to be trusted. And whether they have talks or no talks, or talks about peace or de escalation, all of that is irrelevant. Because to get a clear picture, you need to know what they have been doing on the ground, and you need to have clear pattern recognition. When was the United States a peaceful country? The United States, since the past century, for the past century, probably didn't have a few months without war or engaging in some sort of act of war or aggression against another country. The United States is the biggest state of terror on earth. They constantly attack countries, they constantly bully countries, they constantly interfere, they constantly sabotage. The CIA constantly has coups all across the world, whether it's to do with direct threats or direct killings or kidnapping, whatever it is. And unfortunately, the other side, the Arab world and the Muslim world, is led by completely ridiculously idiotic leadership in general. Let's not say all of them, but in general. Total idiocy, total lack of understanding of how things work. And unfortunately, some people are naive on how actual power works, how the world moves. You know, you can complain, you can say, you can do all of these things, but at the end of the day, so long as your countries don't take substantial measures, real, genuine measures to deter aggression, to have economic prosperity, to have internal security, to have strong diplomacy, then you're doomed. And then some of them even have the audacity to go and attack Iran and speak to you about the resistance. Do you understand? There is no logic there. And again, with the Arab and Muslim countries, the more they continue down that path, the more they will be beaten, by the way. Now, thankfully, some of them are actually, starting to wake up slightly. Starting to wake up after getting slapped. That's their problem. They wait to get slapped or targeted. When did we start to have these moves coming from Gulf countries? Apart from the hyper-Zionist Arabs or hyper-Zionist Muslims in the region, even though it's an oxymoron, but
Mm,
let's say Arab rather than Muslim,
mm,
even though some of them say that they're Muslim and they pray,
mm,
but their actions are more Zionist than Netanyahu himself. They started to make moves and coalitions and talk about treaties after those attacks, after this hostility came from Israel. Now all of the talk about Turkey potentially joining a formation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Good, welcome, but that's not enough. Firstly, late, very late, but that's not enough. So long as you don't have a solid coalition and a defense pact between the nuclear Muslim country, the only one in the world, Pakistan, and Iran, and Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, and Turkey, you're doomed. You need to have that. You can't exclude Iran. You can't exclude the most powerful Arab countries. And that from that defense pact, from that strong posturing and sending a signal to everyone, start having reforms internally. Relief for your own people. Give your people their rights. Lift any sort of restrictive measures on your own population. Start economic trades. Make it easy access for border crossing and economic ties to have with countries. Have an economic line. Why should you remain tied with the same people who split your countries apart to pieces? And again, up until when are we going to blame the United States and Israel?
mm,
As Arab and Muslim countries, until when are we going to say, oh, it's their fault?
mm.
What are you doing? You need to have measures internally to have relevant moves to do with policies, whether it's economy or military, education, finance, everything. Build a solid block, regardless of bricks, even, by the way. And then you will see what happens. Now, thankfully, there are some moves that are heading towards that direction, but in my opinion, way too late and way too slow. We do hope, however, that something can be built on that so that both the people of the region can prosper and then the rest of the world too. Because, like I said, if you have a prosperous region, removing the American influence and having this solid integration between not only the countries but their people, of course, on many levels, that will hopefully create a better future for the region.
Mahmoud bhai, even if they are beefing up their air power around Iran in that region, but getting boots on the ground in Iran, that is gonna be a long, long shot.
No, no, no. I'm not. I never said, by the way, boots
Mm,
on ground.
mm,
I don't, because I don't picture that
mm,
in any scenario. They
mm,
will be buried there. I mean,
mm.
the moment they land,
It's
they'll
not,
be
yeah.
in the ground. They might as well take their
Mm,
coffins with them.
mm,
They might as well take their coffins with them if they
mm,
have boots on ground,
mm,
because Iran is different, dude.
Mm,
Iran is different. Iran is not like Afghanistan, even though look how
mm,
what
true.
Afghanistan did to them.
Mm,
Iran is incomparable.
mm,
What we're talking about is strikes.
mm,
Strikes that the United States might consider or frame as precision strikes against certain targets, strategic targets, command and control hubs, certain military bases, figures to do with the IRGC or the leading figures in the establishment, potentially the supreme leader himself, but that would be a total and utter stupid move from them, by the way. Um, in hope that this can have more traction with the population.
mm,
So that's what they would
mm,
actually do. Boots on ground, you need to remember that these people are cowards.
mm,
They're not brave. What they do is they have attacks against countries that are weak, not countries that are strong. If you have a strong country like Iran that is prepared not only with its strategic missiles and strategic weapons, but also on the ground, it makes it much more difficult to invade, let alone even think about an invasion on the ground. They would be thinking about strikes against the country if they view that as an act that would bring them any desired results from their perspective.